We are now live, baby. Let me just get a nice drink of coffee. Oh, there we are. What's up, everybody? How you doing? And welcome to our this isn't really our first YouTube video, but what's up, everybody? How you doing? And welcome to the Live Life Intense video series that we try to answer all the questions that we get asked a lot. That was a really long title. Probably just call this episode 1 of the Live Life Intense YouTube series. We'll figure that out later. Anyways, folks, welcome to the very first episode of this new YouTube series that we are starting. And this is all aimed at answering questions that we get asked on a regular basis, you know, just to share some of the advice that we have gotten along the way and that we've developed along the way. Now, one of the biggest questions that we get asked on a regular basis is what kind of gear and how much should I spend on the gear to go out and do a winter hike or overnight camping trip in the winter or snowshoe trip, ski trip, anything around winter. It is one of those things that when you get into it, you start looking at the prices of gear and you're kind of overwhelmed because it does cost a lot of money to get the good quality gear. But I'll be the first to tell you that that good quality gear does go a long way, but you don't have to break the bank to get the gear needed to go out and do your next winter hike, snowshoe trip, ski trip, all that sort of stuff. The ultimate goal of any winter trip is to be comfortable with the environment and the gear. So here are some tips on staying warm and comfortable on your next winter hike. Tip 1 is plan for the weather. Now, it should go without saying that you should check the weather forecast before going on any winter trip, and most especially in the winter. So tip 1 is really just about planning your next adventure. There's tons of great apps that we use to reference that are more accurate than others here in Cape Breton Island. Our number 1 choice is windy.com, which is a great online platform and app that you can download for your phone. I just really love the interface. So I get into this app for looking at wind directions when doing river tours and for flying drones because it's got a great interactive interface and you can set up multiple layers to see the weather conditions in different levels as far as lightning, rain, snow, wind, temperature, all that sort of stuff. Now, our second choice is AccuWeather.com. They also have an app you can download onto your phone, and we find that that is one of the most accurate weather forecasting apps. We use it all the time. We cross-reference that and windy.com to find out more accurate weather readings. Now, our third choice is Environment Canada's website. This is also really accurate. I just don't like how clunky I find the website is to navigate. I just like the interfaces on windy.com for simplicity's sake, because you can see like the whole map of Cape Breton Island, and it'll show you all the spots where it's windy, where there's supposed to be lightning, and you can skip by time, like up by like every half-hour slot. So it's a really great interface, but Environment Canada's website is really good as well. Now, tip number 2 might seem obvious, but it kind of goes hand in hand with tip number 1, and it is bring the proper gear. So if it's going to be a nice sunny day, you might not want a heavy rain jacket. But if it snows the night before and you're going to hike a place like Franny Mountain, you might want to consider bringing snowshoes, because otherwise it's going to be extremely difficult to walk up and hike up that mountain. You're going to end up sweating, which then will cause you to get wet and you get cold and miserable. And that is the last thing that you want. So that brings us to tip number 3, which is layering up. Layering up just means wearing multiple layers of clothing that all do its own job to keep you nice, warm, toasty, and comfortable on your next winter hike. It's kind of like when you build a house, you want to start from the foundation all the way up, unless you buy this house that we're in right now and kind of do it ass backwards. But anyways, so layering up comes in 3 stages. Stage 1 is your base layer. That's the layer that resides on your skin. It lives on your skin, folks. Essentially, what a base layer does is wick away moisture from your skin. Generally, we recommend using wool products or synthetic products. Merino wool would be the top of that list, but we do not recommend using cotton products as your base layer, because cotton will absorb the moisture and doesn't dry quickly, so it'll leave you feeling wet and cold. And that is the last thing that you want on your next winter adventure. Now, stage 2 is your mid layer or insulating layer. These could be a down vest, a hoodie, a sweater, it could be a fleece jacket, anything that's going to help your body stay nice and warm. So again, stage 1 wicks away moisture. Stage 2, the mid layer, keeps you warm and insulates your body. And what are we doing here? Stage 3, I think, something like that. Stage 3 is your shell layer. Now this keeps wind and moisture out and helps your body stay warm. All those things working together is the best way to keep you feeling nice and cozy on your next winter adventure. Now, I know what most of you guys are thinking. Yeah, all these layers are great, but they are gonna cost me a lot of money. If you're just getting into it, everybody usually lives near or close by a Frenchies or used clothing store. It's easy to just go there, look through the products, try to find a sweater, try to find a base layer, because generally there are lawn johns there are base layer shirts. Look at what goes into it as far as materials, and generally you can usually find something that either has merino wool or wool, and you'll be able to find those proper layers for bargain prices. So you don't really have to break the bank to get into doing outdoor activities. So all those 3 tips together will bring us around to tip number 4, which is start cold. And you're probably wondering what the hell I mean by starting cold. Well, generally, once you start moving, your body creates heat. And if you're layered up too much, that heat is gonna cause you to sweat, which will cause you to get wet and cold. So by starting cold means starting with a little less layers on, so you're kind of cold when you start doing any activity, and then after 15 minutes or so, your body will start warming up and start compensating for that. And generally, when I'm doing any snowshoe trip, for instance, I'll start with literally a base layer underneath a shell, and I'll be kind of shivering when I start, but within 15 minutes, I'm sweating and I'm zipping that shell down, if not taking it off. But I always do bring a mid layer along with me, just in case I need it. So the tip here is to learn your body basically, and learn what gear works for you and how you like to start. So if you're just getting into outdoor activities in the winter, I would suggest just a trial and error, different setups to see what you feel comfortable with, starting out with a little bit too much and seeing what happens then, starting out with a little bit less, and really just figuring out your own body and what works for you. So that brings us all into tip 5, which is get comfortable. And this just comes with experience. This is about following the first 4 steps and really just heading out there, like I mentioned just before, about getting outside and learning your body and getting experience. You want to get comfortable. And I think of comfort as coming in 2 levels. Level 1 is physically comfortable, which means you're nice warm, your feet are warm, you're dry, and you're able to get out and do the winter activity. Level 2 is psychological. So number 1 plays a lot into number 2. But if you got number 1 covered and you're nice and warm, you can psychologically deal with any adversity when it comes to doing, well, to a certain extent, when you're doing any outdoor winter activity. You can be outside in a windstorm, and if you have the proper shell and base layer and mid layers, you're gonna do fine. You could be on a multi-day backcountry trip, and as long as you have the proper equipment, you can psychologically be there. You're comfortable in that environment. So 1 plays off the other, but 2 of them are very, very important. Now those are our 5 tips for staying warm and comfortable, or cozy, or whatever we call this video, or blog posts. Like I said in the intro, there's going to be a blog post to go along with this, and every video will have a blog post. We'll also put links in the description to all the apps or gear or anything that we talk about within this vlog. All that stuff will be on the blog on our website. That's livelifeintense.com. If any of this stuff was helpful, let us know in the comments. So yeah, we'd really like to know from everybody watching this what you would like us to cover. If there's any questions you have for us, pop them in the comments, send us a DM on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever. You can follow us at Live Life Intense on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social channels. And you can visit our website, livelifeintense.com. But this has been really fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you like it, hit the subscribe button, which is somewhere's down here. And there's like a like button somewhere's down here that really helps with this populating in people's feeds. So until next video, peace.